Hey there, Scorpio. It's Keegan. I hope that you guys have been doing well. I hope that you are having a good Scorpio season. If you've already had your birthday, happy belated birthday to you. And if your birthday's coming up, I hope that it's a great one. As promised, I'm here with your second Scorpio season video. If you didn't see the first one, I did a video about what Scorpio season had in sign for the sign of Scorpio. You can still watch that. I'll put a link up. I think it'll be over here. If you want to check that one out, you can see if it's already come true for you, or if perhaps maybe you want to spend the next week and a half waiting to see what actually comes out of that reading specific for you. You can check that video out. But this is the second video, and I decided that I wanted to do this in the same way that I just completed my best friend's birthday reading. I did a video reading for him for his birthday gift, and the way that I did it was really fun. And since I knew that I needed to do another Scorpio season reading for you guys, I thought I would just do the exact same type of reading for you as well. So I'm going to flip you guys over so you can see the cards. Here we go. As you can see, I have 4 decks that are out here. And I want to talk to you about how this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to do a reading for each of these decks, and they won't be super long. They'll be probably 10 to 20 minutes each. So the reading itself will be quite long, but if you only feel drawn to one of these decks, then you can skip ahead until I'm doing the reading specific to that deck. Now, for those of you who like to hang out, for those of you who maybe have a lot of questions, you want to focus on relationship, or maybe you want to look at 2 people or 2 people in your job, you can decide you're going to watch all 4 readings. That's absolutely fine. Love when you guys hang out with me. Totally up to you how you use this, okay? But what you do need to do now is decide what deck or decks you are going to be watching, and you need to make sure that you're clear what each reading is representing for you. So some of you might pick this deck and be listening for career advice. Some of you might pick this deck and be looking for insight into a relationship. And who knows how this is going to go, but I wanted to try it because this is what I did for my best friend, and he said it was wild how accurate each of the stacks were. So I wanted to try it, see what happened, see what feedback you guys give me. I love hearing in the comments when people are, things are resonating with them. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Hopefully you've decided what you're going to do here. I'm going to move these decks off to the side and keep them in order. There's deck 4, 3, and deck 2. So I've already pre-selected an oracle card. I don't know what that is yet. I'm going to shuffle a little bit on camera so that you can see I am mixing up the cards. And I'm just curious to see what my group 1, what insights want to come through for you guys. I'm going to do 2 shuffles. I'm going to start by pulling the top and bottom card from the deck. And then for this reading, I'm just going to clarify as I go using this deck. Top card, bottom card. We have the world coming out here straight off the bottom. Overall energy of the world. This is a really good vibe. So what I'm sensing here is realizing that you are coming into your own. You are seeing things that have... It's not that you haven't been able to see them, but I think you've kind of had blinders on in a way about things that you've known, but you've chosen to ignore them. This energy feels very much like being in a space in which you're ready to allow things to close out the way that they need to. For some of you, there's a pretty major life event that's just occurred. Some of you might have moved from one place to another. Some of you might have just found out that you're pregnant. Some of you might have just recently gotten engaged. But I'm sensing an energy of like a big life event that marks the beginning of a new chapter in your own life. But this energy feels really good in terms of overall energy. I'm liking this. I want to see what the oracle card is specific to that. So this card says, I'm a spirit having a human experience, and I am here to get closer to love. So again, I think this represents a place where For some of you, this has a spiritual slant to it. So this would be the notion of kind of having a spiritual awakening or a spiritual awareness. Some people might say like, ascension sort of energy. But if you're not an overly spiritual person and you're just watching this because I don't know, YouTube showed it to you, um, there's still this energy of this being something that's very important. So even if it doesn't feel like a big spiritual turning point for you or leveling up in that sense, this feels like a leveling up. Um, and it's a leveling up that comes at the end of putting in a lot of work towards something that you really want. So the other card we have coming out here is the Ace of Cups reversed. And this is interesting because, this energy to me is kind of what I was talking about from the before, right? There's a lot of work that's been put into something to close out cycles, to close out things that um, that have held you back and prevented you from being able to move forward. The Ace of Cups on its own represents being in a place in which we feel like we might have missed an opportunity or we've been let down. But I feel like this card is coming through in terms of, because of the energy of the World card being so much about completion and not really feeling like, so far, I'm not feeling really like down energy for the people who chose to watch this first reading. So this feels like part of what's closing out for you is that um, being in that space of like being so scared of missing out on something or being so scared of letting something go that you hold on to things that aren't meant for you anymore. You hold on to things that don't serve you. And a lot of it feels like energetically things that are going on internally within you. The other thing with the Ace of Cups when it comes out reversed for me is it's a sign of either we need to tend to ourselves better, we need to love ourselves better, focus in on ourselves, loving and taking care of ourselves, or we've been doing that. And this feels very much like this is where you're at now. You're in the energy of the world. So this feels like past energy. For some of you, again, because I know some of you are just going to watch this straight through. So there are some of you that, recently you've realized letting someone go. Interesting. Thank you. Wow. All right. So we have the High Priestess coming out reversed with the Hierophant upright. I did say for some of you, this is a like a leveling up in terms of your spirituality, but it's interesting what I'm getting from this. Your energy in terms of like fully embracing this, fully embracing stepping into who you truly are. You're not quite willing to do it. The High Priestess is about being like holding back, withholding. Quite literally, I'm hearing like nothing. Like you're not talking about this. You're not. You're keeping this very like to yourself. What is that reluctance? There's like it feels in a way like, okay, that's intense energy. Okay. So I forget sometimes I'm reading for Scorpios. When I'm reading for you guys, I can say things as I'm actually like experiencing them because you understand me because I am one of you. So this is that situation where we look back at our life and we see all of the pain, right? We see all of the pain and the disappointment, and we realize that we don't have to carry that stuff around with us, right? Like we can look at it from one perspective and say, okay, I can let this stuff go. I can close this out because I got the lessons. I got the lessons that I needed from that experience. So I don't have to carry around all the feelings and the emotions of that experience anymore. But then there's this other part for Scorpios that says But no, but all of the stuff we've been through, that's what's made us who we are. And we can't like, we have to honor who we were, because who we were made us who we are today. And it almost becomes this thing where it's like the high priestess is withholding, allowing this world card to really like come in and clear away the past pain, which is what has to happen. The world card has to come in and really close things out and allow us to begin new cycles, allow us to complete things that need to be completed and move forward into something. But this Hierophant is making me feel very much this like loyalty to oneself, and not in like a healthy way. It's like in a past focused way, right? So, well, that girl who was, you know, gaslit, that girl who was cheated on, that guy who proposed and was told no, right? Whatever it is. It's like we have these stories, and I do this to myself too, but it's like we start to think of ourselves as survivors, or as being like scrappy, or as, well, I always rise from the ashes no matter how many times I burn. But this is calling for you to stop keeping yourself in that cycle of needing to burn. The notion of like death and rebirth with Scorpio, that happens mostly, that death and rebirth, the transformation cycle happens mostly with Scorpios when they're in lower vibrational states. I have another video about this. Again, I'll try to remember to put links up in the corner. It's like over here, I think. But I did a video about this, and I tried to simplify it into 3 stages, but they're really like 7. But when you're in the lower vibrational states, you are going through a lot of wild transformation, because your energy is kind of fluctuating very quickly, and you have ups and downs, and you're literally going through these cycles of just having to reevaluate everything and question everything. And if you grow from those things, then eventually when you get to a more stable energetic state, you don't have as many of those like death cycles. But some Scorpios think that they have to be in the throes of just uh, constant death and constant having to rebuild, and these tower moments and this chaotic, very tumultuous energy. And you don't have to stay there. You don't have to exist in that completely. What's really wanting to come through here is for you to realize, to connect to that spiritual experience, to realize that you're not a human. You're a spirit who's having the experience of being human. And the universe wants to come in to be able to close things out for you, to allow for healing. But you're letting like a loyalty to yourself block you from that. Did I not just mention that? So the Tower coming out with the Queen of Pentacles here. And I think what's interesting about this is that part of what you have to allow to kind of be shaken a little bit is this notion of needing to be like I'm going to say street smart, and that's not the right term. So like the Queen of Pentacles is someone who, like, she utilizes the things that she has uh, at her disposal to create some sense of stability. She's resourcefulness. That's what it is, not street smart. Resourcefulness. Okay, so this energy to me, this is really dark. A little dark. This energy to me feels like you have to stop making the whole of who you are in the present include all of the pain and the trauma from the past. It's like you've cobbled together coping mechanisms that allow you to create stability, to create a safe zone. But it's like your safe zone is coming from this place of, no matter what messed up thing happens to me, no matter what crazy, abusive, toxic person comes towards me, no matter, I'm going to be able to deal with it, because I'm resourceful and I've been through things and I can create my own stability. But you have to let that go. You have to allow that whole way of thinking to be washed away. The World card with the Tower is saying like you have to close these things out. Because yes, you've dealt with pain, you've dealt with disappointment, you've dealt with a toxic, abusive people, but you have the knowledge, so you can spot those people. So you can shift your energy from a place of like, no matter what type of mess I find myself in, I'll be able to endure it, or I'll be able to survive. You shift your energy into, I am creating a life of stability. I'm creating a life of great, wonderful, loving, trustworthy people. I'm creating a life in which I can express it fully, who I am and how I feel, and I am appreciated for that by the people in my life who care for me. Do you hear the difference between those two ways of thinking about yourself? That's what this reading is talking about. Okay, let's get a few more cards for you guys, and then we'll call it quits for this one. I said these were going to be quick because the energy coming through and these are they're very focused. Two of Swords coming out with the Knight of Pentacles reversed. And again, this is that stubborn energy that I was talking about. This is being in a place where, you know, you're wanting to hold on. You're not quite in a place where you're ready to allow yourself to change. But I have to point out to you, like, this isn't something you can resist. When you have the World and the Tower, right? If you just needed the Death card, and it would be the trifecta of buckle up, because like it or not, things are going to change. And even though you're over here like trying to dig in, right? These cards are saying like, no, I'm not ready. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to like keep my energy held in. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to communicate. I'm not going to express anything, right? Because I want to be able to honor who I am. And I feel like if I don't carry the pain with me, then I might mess up and do it again. I might make the same mistake, but as long as I can keep the pain fresh. But that's not, it's like your intuition. You need to flip this High Priestess upright. Because when this High Priestess goes upright, the World and the Tower, she embraces that because she realizes letting these things fall away, letting these things change, lets me fine tune my own connection with my intuition. Because whatever goes away, whatever I lose in this process of the Tower, whatever I lose in that process wasn't meant to be mine. The High Priestess upright sees these sorts of radical changes as being the human experience, and realizing that every time something disappears or someone leaves or something falls apart, it's the universe saying to us, like, our time with that person is done. Our time in that connection is done. There's something else that we need to be focused on. There's something else that's coming towards us, and we need to make space to welcome it. And maybe that's what I was picking up on at the beginning, is just like making room, like leveling up yourself, perhaps, is what you're being called forth to do. And whatever this was for you, whatever this connection or this situation or this question was for you, you need to let yourself go up to the next level because you're ready. And the universe is just waiting for you to stop being in the way. Okay. So that was group one. Group two. Let's see what's going on with you guys. It's always weird because I don't know if you guys are just jumping in or if you watched all of what I said in group one. I don't do a lot of these styles of readings because sometimes I feel like I gave group one some really good advice. And so, but I guess if it's pertinent for you, then you watched the group one. We'll see what group two has in terms of the cards. So I think for you guys, what I'm going to do is shuffle a little bit more. And then I'm just going to pick some cards out by doing cuts. And we'll read the cards all at once and see what's happening with you guys. All right, so I'm going to shuffle this deck twice, and then we'll see what lands on the bottom of the deck. Nine of Coins coming out on the bottom of the deck, indicating to me a situation in which things feel good. The Nine of Coins, it's about being in a place in which we... Well, okay, the energy I'm getting is that you have everything that you need. You have everything that you need. There's some things that you might want, and you feel like you are on the verge of being able to get those as well. And the only thing that feels like is potentially unfinished, and it's not so much that it's like, I want to be clear here, it's not that if you don't get this, that you'll feel like anything's lacking. But the only thing that feels like is a bit unfinished in terms of the energy of this card is waiting for that that next thing that makes it feel like everything gets rounded out. Now, for some of you, this could be like your career's great and everything's going great and you're just waiting to bring in a partner. For some of you, you could be in a relationship and you're just waiting for like the business that you're starting or something that you've been pouring a lot of passion into to take off and feel like it's giving you financial security. Okay. But you're right on the edge of feeling like, no, I think I've got this figured out. I think that I'm so close to that 10 of Pentacles. I'm so close to it. Like I sense that. Oracle card. I create mindful moments throughout the day, reminding myself that I am love and miracles are natural. And when this card comes out, it's always an indication to me that it's very important for the person to root themselves in the present, to not dwell on the past and not be too consumed with the future. And that's this energy that I'm feeling too. I feel like for most of you, you've gotten to the point of understanding this. Like you realize that when you're in the past and you're dwelling on things that you can't do anything about, it makes you feel very frustrated and trapped and like you're being controlled. And if you're in the future and you're spending too much time daydreaming about that or imagining that or longing for that, you're realizing that energetically you're not doing anything to propel yourself into a future that you do want, right? You're just like longing for something that's different than what you have right now, but that's not how the universe can respond to you. All that the universe hears is, I'm frustrated with the way things are. And it's like, okay, well, they say they're frustrated, but they're not asking for anything else. So I'm going to assume they just want to keep being frustrated. Because if they wanted that to change, they would say, I'm really frustrated and I want this instead. What is the and this instead? I think that that's what you're asking yourself. Like you're just looking and you're like, what else do I want? What else is it that I want to bring into my life? And being present is very important. Now, if that didn't make sense to you, then this is saying you need to get to that place. But I think for most of you, you're going to be like, yeah, I've really been working on keeping myself present, keeping myself trying to like have my energy going towards pulling me and leading me towards the things that I know that I want. So let's take a look here. Knight of Coins with the Five of Swords reversed, Ace of Cups with the Three of Wands, and then the Two of Wands, the last card coming out here. So let's talk about this. This coming to this place where I was talking about like feeling like you've gotten things pretty much where you want them to be, that was not easy. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of faith in yourself that you were going to be able to like stick with it. It challenged you. It really challenged you. And there were times where you felt like, I'm not sure if I can push through this. I don't know how to get myself from where I'm at to where I want to be. But what happened is that you realized that the only way that you could find peace in being in that situation, the only way that you could actually manage to get yourself unstuck is to like not fight it, to surrender. Five of Swords reversed is about a feeling of like being in a struggle against something that's like a power struggle or a power dynamic where you're battling, right? Or some sort of a quick attack where something just goes completely upside down. But when it's reversed, it also means that you're coming into a place of peace, right? It was a lot. It took a lot of work, and it took you realizing and learning that the only way for you to get yourself unstuck was to say, I don't know what to do here. I know what I want. I know where I want to go. I know how I want to feel. I'm going to trust that I'm going to get some sort of guidance or insight around that, and then I'll make my move. This is very much about like giving yourself a break from feeling like you have to do everything on your own, or you have to make everything happen uh, by this like exertion of effort. This is about opening yourself up to the universe, showering you with some gifts and some abundance and some happiness. Specifically, I feel one of the things that you've really been trying to think about, like welcoming into your life. The Three of Wands is speaking to me in terms of like being open to the notion of something growing, being open to the notion of something being bigger than what you expect, allowing happiness to come in, finding yourself being grateful for the way that your life has started to shift around. Like this energy, the Nine of Coins with the Three of Wands, like that's beautiful. That's like perfect in terms of like gratitude energy. Now underneath this, when I lifted it, we have the Star card showing itself, right? And again, that is about faith, having hope, believing that things are going to work out in the way that we want them to. It also is a notion, the Star card represents finding inner clarity within ourselves, or having some sort of a renewal of our faith in ourselves. This is a very beautiful reading. Now, this Ace of Cups, I think for some of you, this could have led to a situation in which you've met someone new recently, where you might have your eye on someone. For others of you, if you were with someone, this could represent a place in which a relationship potentially was struggling, and you have come out of that. You've come out of that dark period and you're in a better period of time. Or if you've been in a healthy relationship, the Ace of Cups would represent a place where it's just deepening in some way. You might have moved in together, you might have gotten engaged, you might have gotten married, you might have had your first kid. Regardless of what's specific to you and the situation, it's showing that you've made space, you've made room, you've opened yourself up for love, and you're grateful for it. You're really grateful for it. Now, the last card here, this Two of Wands, we have Three of Wands here. The Two of Wands was the last card coming out. And I think that this actually makes sense, because I think where you're at this point is stepping back into that present energy and looking at things and saying, this is what I want. This is what I want, and I'm going to open myself up for it. The Two of Wands is about mapping out that destination. The Three is really about the actual like growth and expansion, but I feel like the Three here is about the growth and expansion that you've already done. This is about realizing, okay, I've gotten myself here. Where do I want to go next? And that's the question you should ask yourself with this reading. Where do you want to go next? Because you've made it very far. Okay, group 3. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to get some water because I've been doing a lot of talking. We're like approaching half an hour, and I feel like I've been talking nonstop. Okay. Let's turn some of these cards. I think what I want to do here is read this oracle card first. Okay, Scorpio, it's a long one, but it says, the moment I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is a moment that the universe can truly get to work. Now, let's talk about this card because it's one of my favorite cards out of that deck. And it's all about not being focused on what we think it is that we want, or what we think it is that we need, or how we think it has to happen in order for us to trust it. Okay, so for those of you who have decided to watch this particular reading, odds are you have someone very specific in mind. You have an absolute 100% what you want to happen with that person, or with that thing, or with that job, or with that friend, or with yourself. There's something that you have become obsessive in terms of what it is that you think needs to happen. I feel that controlling energy. Okay. For some of you, you're like, yes, and you better get it right. Right? The cards are going to say what the cards are going to say. I don't hold back or sugarcoat things just because I think you might not want to hear it. Okay. So we'll see what the cards have to say about this. But this oracle card is saying what you're doing in terms of saying, I want this particular person to forgive me. I want this particular person to tell me they love me instead of them. I want this particular person to stop ignoring me, to answer my text. I want this particular person to be my twin flame. I want reunion within the next year, right? It's that sort of like demanding energy. You're actually making things worse. You're eliminating the magic of the universe because you're saying to the universe, I will only accept these specific parameters. I don't care if there's something better for me. I don't care if there is another way. I don't care if this could be blissful in a year, but if I force it in the next 3 months, it's all going to fall apart again. I don't care about any of that. I just want what I want when I want it, and I want it now. That's the energy of the people I'm picking up on right now. Some of you are laughing, I bet. But group 3, let's see what these cards have to say about this. Ooh. Card flew out. 2 of Pentacles coming out reversed here. So this is interesting energy because the 2 of Pentacles reversed is really mostly about being in this place where you just can't pull the trigger. You just can't commit one way or the other. And so you're just in this place of feeling lost and confused, and like things are like you're struggling to do anything. This is that going round and round and round in your mind about trying to get out of a way of thinking and ending up right back at where you started, no matter what approach you're taking. And it's really just because you're trying to prevent yourself from making the decision that you probably already know you need to make. Okay? Bring more insight to group 3, please. Three of Wands coming out here. It is reversed. You are annoyed. This is about things just being delayed, taking a while, being really frustrated, things not working out necessarily how we wanted them to, having some sort of a step back around a situation. Seven of Cups here, and I want to clarify the Seven of Cups a little bit. This feels, honestly, to me, well, let's get a card. Well, no, I'm going to say what I want to say, and we'll see what the card has to say about whether I'm right on this. You know, the Seven of Cups represents having options, having choices, as its like core. But this to me feels a bit like fantasy-based. It's like creating options almost that aren't there. This card feels like and like I know I'm talking more about it almost like it's reversed, but it's not about like it's not about there being like illusion or some sort of like deception of another person. This feels like engaged energy of trying to like it's what if energy. You know when I was saying like you just like go in cycles in your head? I'm still picking up on that. Where it's like you're trying to create these possibilities, and I don't necessarily know if they're real or not, right? So that's why I want to see what comes out to clarify the Seven of Cups. Clarify the Seven of Cups, please. Need more insight into the Seven of Cups. Three of Pentacles, reversed. So this is interesting, okay? Because the Three of Pentacles, when it is reversed, represents a place in which we are actively on our own. Like we are on our own. May or may not be by choice, but we're on our own. But we are in a situation in which, again, with this like frustration about something not being able to happen the way that we want, this card in particular, I'm getting energy of like stuff that's not done yet, like unfinished business. This feels like this okay, like I'm talking about like running the what ifs in your head, right? It's like you can't close things out because there are things that you don't know. That's the story you tell yourself. I can't close this out. I can't get over the frustration because in my mind I keep trying to run these scenarios and I get to a point where I don't know. I don't know if what they said was real. I don't know if what I think they did, they actually did. I don't have those like bits of data. So instead of like being accepting of that and saying, okay, well, you know what? I might never know. I might never know if they honestly meant what they said. I might never know if they cheated on me. I might never hear from them again. This might be the actual time that they never respond to a text or an email. They change their number and they're gone. I don't know those things. And odds are I don't have any control over knowing them because unless this other person tells me, you feel like you're stuck. But that's not true. Stop worrying about this. There are so many other things you could be focusing on. There's so many different people you could be focusing on. There's so many other opportunities and possibilities. This is real in terms of the universe wants to present you with new opportunities, but your mind is not embracing that. Your mind is focused on trying to find answers to things that you can't. And I know that's so frustrating. I've been in that situation and it's annoying. But it's like you honestly can't get these answers unless the person gives them to you. And even if the person gives them to you, you may or may not trust and believe in what they say because you don't actually know whether or not they would be honest. Queen of Cups coming out here. I like this as something coming out. I don't feel like you're necessarily here. You know, the Queen of Cups is about healing, about really supportive, nurturing, patient energy. I think this is coming through saying, embrace peace. Embrace. This card is peace within and surrendering the outcome. The Queen of Cups feels like what's meant to be mine, what's meant for me, will be mine because I'm open to it. I'm receptive to it. And so if that's the energy I'm putting out to the world is openness and receptive, then anything that is for me will be drawn in. This is where you have to end up. This is all about you. This has nothing to do with the other person at all. Any more insight for group 3, please? Ten of Swords coming out here reversed. So, you know, Ten of Swords reversed. Painful. It is painful. This can represent a place in which something came to an abrupt stop, something that was meant to end, coming to a very painful ending. I'm not trying to diminish that it hurt, but the Ten of Swords, when it is reversed, is actually a good card because it means that you are ready to begin the healing process. You're ready to let the swords fall out. You're ready to move forward. There's an acceptance. There's an acceptance of the finality of this, but it only comes after you get into this Queen of Cups energy. That's what leads you into being able to actually start to heal this and get out of this like stuck energy. I don't like that. I don't like that. I know what that energy is like. I don't like that you're in it. Okay. Sun card coming out here. I'm going to leave it on its side, not because I think that it's bad luck or anything. I just think this is going to take a little bit of time, especially if you keep fighting it. If you can learn how to surrender, if you can learn how to surrender this, let it go, walk away from it, be okay if it doesn't ever manifest, be okay if it doesn't ever turn into anything, realize that your life can continue. There's positivity here for you. It's just a matter of how quickly you work through this. You can work through it very quickly. This could be upright, or it could take a little bit of time, and that's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you how quickly you accept things and how quickly you begin to prioritize yourself. But the Sun card coming out here is good because it means that you will ultimately get this healing and you will settle into that Queen of Cups energy. That will happen. And at that point, that's when the universe can really start to work to provide you with some stuff that I think could be really good. That card's spun around a couple of times, but we're going to take it this way. King of Wands coming out here. I want to get a clarifying card on this. For some of you, I think this represents a new person. I'm going to see what how the cards will clarify this. For others of you, this could just be a continuation of your energy, saying along with that Queen of Cups energy, you need to have some of this King of Wands energy. The King of Wands is just very secure, very bold, very outgoing, very engaging, very charismatic, like charming sort of energy. You know, if you can manage to pull off the Queen of Cups and the King of Wands, is like how you're putting energy out to the world, like that would be quite an amazing life. But let's see what the cards say to clarify this King of Wands. We have the Chariot coming out as a clarifier. I don't know. I still feel like for some of you, this could represent, you know, potentially a connection with a fire sign. I'll just say that for some of you. But I think for most of you, with the Chariot being the card that is clarifying it, this is really just about giving you some insight into how you can push yourself, how you can keep yourself motivated to get out of this stuck energy and to start to heal. Is, you know, channeling that energy of the Chariot, which is about taking action, allowing the change to happen, being very determined to continue forward, to not let things get in your way. Okay, the way that you can do that is by letting yourself be like, let yourself show yourself, show your funny side, show your softer side, show the flirty aspect of you, show the you know, the really romantic, charming side of yourself. Doing that will allow you to start to feel better. Like, let the sun come in, literally. Let this sun flip, right? Again, like, I think for some of you, you're still like, you didn't get the answer that you were hoping for with that. But the reading itself was very clear in saying it's time to move on. Group 4. I think group 3 might be mad at me, but it wasn't me, it was the cards. So group 4, how am I going to do a reading for you guys? Let's see. Let's get 2 cards out just by doing some blind cuts. Okay. So this card says, when I lean towards love, I am led. Okay, I want to see what these 2 cards are. We have the Hangman coming out here, and then we have the 9 of Cups coming out reversed. Okay. I think some of you have been in a space of okay, don't get mad at me, but there's no other way for me to say this, okay? Some of you have been exaggerating the amount of effort that you've been putting into trying to heal from something. And no judgment from me, okay? this is what I'm being shown energetically, and so I want to I want to preface what I'm saying with, like, I'm not judging you, okay? but I'm wanting to have like a real conversation with you. So some of you listening to me, if you have chosen this sack of cards, um, it's like you're with a friend and you're talking about the same thing you've talked to this person about every day for like the past several months, and it's like you can't stop yourself from like bringing it up again and going over it again and putting yourself into this like this space of like being re-traumatized by it, right? And your friend looks at you and they're like, I hear you, but you've got to figure out how to let this go. You've got to figure out how to move on. You have to figure out how to like free yourself from this. Like, how can, what, and you're like, I am trying, but you're really not. And you know that. But it's like it feels like for you, not me energetically, I want to clarify that. But for you, it feels like it's taking so much effort just to like get myself out of bed and pull myself together and be able to be around people and it's so much I can barely even get myself to like function. So I have nothing left to actually like try to work on this. But it's almost like, yeah, you can, but you got to start taking care of yourself. You have to start letting this go. You have to start detaching yourself from that pain because, yeah, as long as you're attached to that pain and disappointment, you aren't going to be able to learn the lessons that you were meant to learn from the experience. You have to get out of this Nine of Cups reversed and put yourself into this hangman energy. The hangman is a good place to be because it's about looking inward, trying to get a different perspective on something, trying to understand things, looking at it from a different angle, but you're only looking at it from what you know. It sucked, it hurt, and it isn't what I want. Like everyone knows that. You know that. All of your friends know that. Like, yes, you didn't get what you want. Fine. Accept that. You didn't get what you wanted. What do you want now? Right? Like you can't have that. That wasn't meant for you. What do you want instead? What would make you happy? It can't be like, this feels very much like a continuation of group 3. I don't know if some of the group 3 was like, I'm just going to watch group 4 to see because I didn't hear what I wanted. But here we are again, right? You have to lean into happiness, love, higher energy in order to be led towards healing. Okay? Any more insight for group 4, please? Okay. 8 of Pentacles coming out here, and I think this is what I was like hinting at, right? You have to put in the effort. You have to develop the skills. You have to be able to look at this and dissect it and learn and almost like study it instead of reliving it. I think the other thing that I want to say, and I'm feeling this, I feel like a lot of like not sensitive, like, oh, you're so sensitive, but like I'm feeling sensitive energy. Like this is a very emotional, touchy subject for some of you listening to this particular group. You have to treat yourself like you are at the beginning. Like you have to acknowledge to yourself, like, okay, I have a lot to figure out. I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to try to unravel and understand. And I can't beat myself up if it takes me a little bit of time to do it. But I can't keep myself from being able to move forward and learn the things that I need to learn because I'm so focused on what didn't happen the way that I wanted it to happen. So funny, like so many cards wanted to jump out, but none of them did, and then a card flipped. So when that happens for me, we have the Emperor coming out reversed. When that happens to me, where it's like, I feel like cards are like trying to come out, but they don't. That to me feels like the energy from whoever's going to eventually watch this video. It's like it's your energy in the moment saying like, show me this card, tell me this. And it's like, it's saying no, and then it gives you one. And it gave the Emperor reversed. This is a place in which your ego is getting in the way. This is a place in which your refusal to like step up and allow yourself to feel what you need to feel and dust yourself off and push forward is that's a problem. Like, you have to figure out how to do that. You can't just sit in your anger. You can't just pout about it. You can't be in your ego. You have to figure out how to heal this. You have to figure out how to close this out. Some of you are really angry. Like, I sense it. But do you want to live the whole rest of your life angry? So, Page of Pentacles coming out here upright. I like this. I think if you're still listening to me, if you didn't click away and write me off and say, well, that's not what I want to hear, I'm done. If you're still listening to me, then we have an energy shift here. Because the Page of Pentacles is about allowing ourselves to begin to think about what we want and allowing some hope and some drive and some ambition and some confidence to come back in. It's opening ourselves back up to desiring something and being and realizing, like, okay, I can desire something, and even though that desire means I don't yet have it, I can figure out, Hangman, right? I can figure out what I need to do to move myself closer to what I want. It's getting your faith back in yourself, and it comes through allowing yourself the time that you need to figure these things out and to learn about yourself, to learn about cycles and patterns and trauma and for some of you, this might indicate a place in which you actually do go into therapy to learn more about yourself, or to understand an aspect of your personality, or to understand cycles and behaviors that you have noticed in partners that you've picked. Okay. Judgment coming out reversed. This makes sense. One of the biggest things that I'm feeling here is that where you're getting so stuck is you're kind of beating yourself up and like asking those questions of like, well, why did I let this happen? Why didn't I know better? Why didn't I see this? Why didn't I figure this out? Why did I waste so much? Like, it's this beating yourself up and judging yourself. And as long as you're in that energy of like continuously like punishing yourself, you can't do this. You can't learn. You can't grow. Right? So we have this learning and growing, being in a space of allowing yourself the time to learn and grow, putting in the work and the effort. What's getting in the way of all that? Your anger, being focused on things not happening the way that you wanted them to happen, and being mean and judging yourself. Last insight. I like that. Okay. So what happens if you manage to get yourself to this Eight of Pentacles, where you learn and you develop and you grow? Well, then you get to move into the Nine of Pentacles, literally right underneath it. The Nine of Pentacles is about being able to like care for ourselves, creating a life that we feel proud of, creating a life that feels like how we want it to be, being in a space where we might be open to sharing that life with someone, but realizing we don't need someone. If someone comes along and they add to our life in some way, or they enrich it, or we just feel like I want to share the wonderful life that I built with you because I like you, great. But we're not chasing after that because we have everything that we need. We realize that we have everything inside of us that we need. Okay. I think some of you need one last card. So we will do that. Okay, we'll try one more time. Okay, take this one. So we have the Nine of Wands. I do feel like it is reversed in terms of the energy of the card. I wanted to just sit with that for a minute to be sure. I think it is related to this anger that I was talking about. The Nine of Wands reversed is kind of a defensive, closed off, resistant sort of energy. I get it, right? Spend some time with this. Like right now, you're angry and you want to be in the anger. Things didn't go your way. You're judging yourself. You're being harsh. But there are these other really amazing cards. But it's like it's the energy of this is so like, right? Literally, this card, right? When I lean towards love, love is the Hangman, the Page of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles. If you lean towards those things, like boom, so much energy. You're here, right? So I would just say to this group, the faster you can allow yourself to move out of that low, disappointed, I didn't get what I want sort of energy, the sooner you can do that for yourself, the more that you can start to learn and grow and realize that there are things waiting for you, but you just have to become the person you're going to be before you can really see them or perceive them. You have to let yourself go through some changes, but it's worth it. Okay, so that wraps up group 4. These readings are always a little bit weird because I never know who is still here at the very end. But if you're still here, I will put up some other videos on the screen around my hands here. And if you want to hang out with me support, you can click on one of those videos and I will just be there waiting for you. And if not, then thank you for hanging out. Thank you for listening. I hope that you got information that is helpful to you. Go into the comments. Let me know what you thought about the reading. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And I will see you guys soon. Happy birthday, Scorpios.